The alien queen questioned him. The princess boldly said, "He is my human partner, Part 1. The drifting vessel Park Do-yeon was going to die alone in space." He knew this now. His small scout ship was broken beyond repair. The asteroid field had come out of nowhere. Rocks had torn through his ship like paper. Now he floated in the darkness with no power and no hope. The air was getting thin. He could feel it. Each breath was harder than the last. His fingers were cold. His body was shaking. The emergency lights blinked red around him. They would stop blinking soon. Everything would stop soon. Do-yeon was 28 years old. He had been a pilot in the Earth Defense Fleet for 6 years. He had flown through storms on Jupiter. He had raced through the rings of Saturn. He had never been afraid. But now, in the silence of dying, he felt fear creeping into his heart. He pulled out his recorder. His hands were shaking as he pressed the button. "This is Lieutenant Park Do-yeon of the scout ship Horizon's Edge," he said. His voice was weak. "I am in Sector 794. My ship is destroyed. Life support is failing. I have maybe 1 hour of air left. If anyone finds this message, please tell my mother I love her. Please tell my sister to take care of herself. I did my duty. I have no regrets." He stopped the recording. Tears floated in front of his eyes. In space, even tears did not fall. Do-yeon closed his eyes. He thought about Earth. He thought about the small house where he grew up. He thought about his mother's cooking and his father's laugh. He thought about the girl he never told he loved. So many things left unsaid. So many dreams left unfulfilled. Then he saw the light. At first he thought he was dying. People said, "You see light when you die." But this light was moving. It was growing bigger. It was coming toward him. Do-yeon forced his eyes to focus. Through his cracked window, he saw a ship. But it was not like any ship he had ever seen. It was beautiful and strange. It looked almost alive. The hull curved like a seashell. Towers of crystal rose from its back. It glowed with soft blue light. "What is that?" Do-yeon whispered. The ship came closer. It was huge. His little scout ship was like an insect next to it. A beam of light shot out from the strange vessel. It wrapped around his broken ship and pulled it toward an opening in the hull. Do-yeon tried to stay awake. He tried to see who was taking him, but his vision was going dark. The last thing he saw was figures moving through the breach in his ship. They were tall. They moved with grace. They were not human. Then everything went black. Do-yeon woke up slowly. The first thing he noticed was that he could breathe. The air was clean and sweet. It filled his lungs easily. He was alive. The second thing he noticed was the room. It was unlike anything on Earth. The walls seemed to glow from within. They pulsed with soft colors, like a living thing. There was no hard metal or cold plastic. Everything looked organic and warm. The third thing he noticed was her. She stood at the foot of his bed. She was tall, maybe 7 feet. Her skin was silver like moonlight. She had 4 eyes, all of them a deep purple color. Her hair, if you could call it hair, flowed like water down her back. She wore a dress that seemed made of starlight. She was the most beautiful and terrifying thing Do-yeon had ever seen. "You are awake," she said. Do-yeon's mouth fell open. She was speaking Korean. Perfect Korean. He saw a small device at her throat. It hummed softly. A translator, he realized. "Where am I?" he asked. His voice was rough. "Who are you?" "You are on the royal starship Eternal Dawn," she said. She moved closer. Her steps made no sound. "I am Princess Yura of the Valari Empire. And you, human, were dying. You saved me." "Yes." Do-yeon tried to sit up. Pain shot through his chest. He looked down and saw bandages wrapped around his body. Someone had treated his wounds. Why? He asked, "Why save me?" Princess Yura tilted her head. Her 4 eyes studied him with curiosity. "I do not know," she said honestly. "I saw your ship. I felt something. Perhaps it was pity. Perhaps it was curiosity." Humans are rare in this part of space. Thank you, Doyon said. I owe you my life. Yes, Yura agreed. You do. She moved to a table and poured something into a cup. She brought it to him. The liquid was blue and smelled like flowers. Drink, she said. It will help you heal. John drank. It tasted strange, but good. Warmth spread through his body. The pain in his chest grew less. I must tell you something, Yura said. She sat on a chair beside his bed. What I did was against the law. The Valari Empire does not interfere with primitive species. Humans are considered primitive. By saving you, I have broken imperial law. Doyen felt his stomach drop. What happens now? I do not know, Yura admitted. No one knows you are here except me and my personal guards. They are loyal. They will not speak. But we must be careful. I can leave, Doyan said quickly. Give me a ship. I will go. You will not get in trouble because of me, Yura smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed her whole face. She looked less like a goddess and more like a person. Your ship is destroyed, she said. We are 3 months from any human territory. You cannot leave even if I wanted you to go. And I do not want you to go. Not yet. Why? Because you are interesting. Her purple eyes sparkled. I have lived for 200 years. I have seen many things. But I've never met a human before. I have so many questions. Wyan stared at her. 200 years old. She looked no older than him. The Valari were truly different from humans in every way. I have questions too, he said. Yura laughed. It was a musical sound. Then we will trade. Question for question. Story for story. You will tell me about humans? I will tell you about the Valari. We have 3 months. That is plenty of time. She stood and walked toward the door. At the entrance, she stopped and looked back. Rest now, Park Do-yun. You are safe here. I give you my word as a princess of the Valari Empire. No harm will come to you while you are under my protection. The door closed silently behind her. Do-yun lay back on his bed. His mind was spinning. Just hours ago, he was ready to die. Now, he was on an alien ship, saved by an alien princess, flying through space toward an unknown future. He should have been scared. He should have been worried. But as he closed his eyes, he felt something unexpected. He felt hope. For the first time in a long time. Park Do-yun felt like his life was just beginning. The alien queen questioned him, the princess boldly said. He is my human partner, Part 2. The hidden guest 3 months passed on the eternal dawn. 3 months of hiding. 3 months of secrets. 3 months that changed everything. Park Do-yun lived like a ghost. He stayed in Princess Yura's private chambers. He moved only when it was safe. He ate alone. He slept during the day when inspections happened. At night, when the ship was quiet, Yura would come to him. They would talk for hours. At first, it was just questions. Yura wanted to know everything about humans. She asked about Earth. She asked about history. She asked about art and music and food. Do-yun answered as best as he could. Tell me about war, Yura said one night. She sat across from him, her silver skin glowing in the soft light. Do-yun was surprised. War? Why do you want to know about war? The Valari have not had war in 20,000 years, she explained. We solved our conflicts long ago, but humans fight each other constantly. I want to understand why. Do-yun thought for a moment. Humans fight for many reasons. Land, resources, power. Sometimes we fight for ideas. Sometimes we fight because we are afraid. Afraid of what? Of each other. Of the unknown. Of losing what we have. Yura shook her head slowly. This seems inefficient. Why not simply discuss problems and find solutions? Do-yun laughed. If only it were that simple. Humans are not logical creatures. We are emotional. We feel things deeply. Sometimes our feelings make us do stupid things. Like fighting wars. Yes. Like fighting wars. He paused. but our emotions also make us do beautiful things. We create art because we feel. We write poems because we hurt. We build monuments because we love. Our feelings are both our weakness and our strength. Yura listened carefully. She always listened carefully. That was one of the things Do-Yen liked about her. She did not judge. She just tried to understand. As the weeks passed, Do-Yen began to learn about the Valari too. They were an ancient species. They had traveled the stars when humans still lived in caves. Their technology was beyond anything Earth had ever seen. They could change their own genes. They could live for thousands of years. They had built an empire across 1,000 worlds, but something was wrong with them. "We are dying," Yura told him one evening. Her voice was sad. "Slowly, quietly, but we are dying." "What do you mean?" "Our birth rates fall every century. We have fewer children now than ever before. Our scientists cannot explain it. Our doctors cannot fix it." She looked at her hands. "We are too perfect, perhaps. We have removed all weakness from ourselves. But in doing so, we remove something important. Something we cannot name." "Change," Do-Yen said quietly. Yura looked up. "What? You remove change?" "Humans change all the time. We grow, we adapt, we evolve, sometimes painfully, sometimes slowly, but we never stop changing. Maybe that is what keeps us alive." Ura stared at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. It was becoming her habit to smile around him. "You are wise for such a young species," she said. "I am wise for such a young person," Do-Yen corrected her with a grin. "Most humans my age are idiots," Yuta laughed. Her laugh was like music. It made the room feel warmer. Day by day, their talks grew longer. Night by night, they sat closer together. Without meaning to, without planning it, they were becoming something more than prisoner and protector. More than alien and human, they were becoming friends. One night, Yura came to him looking troubled. She sat down heavily. Her 4 eyes would not meet his. "What is wrong?" Do-Yen asked. "I received a message today," she said. "The Eternal Dawn has been called back to our homeworld. I must attend a ceremony. The High Council wants to see me." Do-Yen felt cold fear in his chest. "What does that mean for me?" "I do not know. I will try to keep you hidden. But the homeworld is different. There are more eyes, more inspections. It will be much harder." Do-Yen reached out and took her hand. It was the first time he had touched her on purpose. Her skin was cool and smooth like glass. "Whatever happens, thank you," he said. "These 3 months have been the best of my life. I mean that." Yura's purple eyes finally met his. There was something in them. Something deep and warm and afraid. "I feel the same," she whispered. "I have lived for 200 years. I have met thousands of beings, but I have never felt this way before. When I am with you, I feel alive. Truly alive. Not just existing. Living, Yura. I know it is forbidden," she continued quickly. "I know it is impossible. You are human. I am Valari. Our people have never mixed. The law says we should not even be friends. But when I look at you, I do not see an alien. I see Dayun. I see someone who makes me laugh. Someone who challenges me. Someone who understands me." Do-Yen squeezed her hand. His heart was beating fast. He had felt this way for weeks, but had been afraid to speak. "I see you too," he said. "Not a princess. Not an alien. Just Yura, the woman who saved my life. The woman who talked to me when she did not have to. The woman who made 3 months in hiding feel like an adventure." They sat in silence, holding hands. Outside the window, stars passed by like diamonds on black velvet. 2 beings from different worlds connected by something that had no name. "Whatever happens on the homeworld," Do-Yen said finally, "we face it together." "Okay," Yura nodded. Together, but they both knew the danger ahead. The Valari homeworld was not like the ship. There would be no hiding. There would be no secrets. And if Do-Yen was discovered, the punishment would be severe. For Yura, it would be shame. Maybe exile. For Do-Yen, it would be death. Still, as they sat together watching the stars, neither of them could bring themselves to regret anything. Some things were worth the risk. Some connections were worth any price. 2 weeks later, the eternal dawn dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Through the window, Do-Yan saw it for the first time. The Valari homeworld. It was beautiful. Blue and green like Earth, but covered in crystal towers that reached toward the sky. Ships moved around it like fireflies. Lights sparkled across every continent. "Welcome to my home," Yura said quietly. "I hope you survive it." Before Do-Yan could reply, alarms began to ring. The door to the chamber burst open. Soldiers rushed in, their weapons raised. Behind them stood Lord Taigen, the ship's commander. He was old and stern, with eyes like ice. "So the rumors were true," he said coldly. "A human. On a royal vessel, hidden by the princess herself." Guards grabbed Do-Yan roughly. They forced him to his knees. Energy shackles locked around his wrists. "No," Yura shouted. She tried to reach him, but more guards held her back. "Do not hurt him. He has done nothing wrong." "He exists," Lord Taigen said simply. "On this ship? In your quarters? That is wrong enough." He turned to the soldiers. "Take him to the cells. The Queen will decide his fate." As they dragged him away, Do-Yan looked back at Yura. Her face was full of fear and pain. But under that, he saw something else. Determination. Whatever was coming, she would not give up. Neither would he. The door closed between them, and Do-Yan was alone with his guards and his fear, and one small flame of hope burning in his heart. "The alien?" Queen questioned him. The princess boldly said, "He is my human partner, Part 3, before the throne room of the Valari." Empire was the most beautiful and terrifying place Park Do-Yan had ever seen. The entire chamber was made from a single piece of living crystal. It glowed with inner light. Colors moved through its walls like blood through veins. The ceiling rose so high that clouds seemed to drift inside it. Guards marched Do-Yan down a long walkway. His wrists were bound by energy shackles that hummed against his skin. On both sides of the walkway stood the High Council. Ancient Valari nobles watched him with cold eyes. Some looked curious. Most looked disgusted. Whispers followed him like shadows. A human. Here. How did it get on a royal ship? Primitive creature. Look how it walks. The princess must have lost her mind.
No.
Do-Yan kept his head up. He would not show fear. He would not give them that satisfaction. His legs were shaking, but he forced them to be still. His heart was pounding, but he kept his face calm. At the end of the walkway sat the throne. And on the throne sat Queen's son. She was ancient. Do-Yan could feel it just by looking at her. 800 years of life had given her a presence that filled the entire room. Her silver skin was darker than Yura's, like aged metal. Her 4 eyes were deep gold. They held wisdom and power and something cold. She was the most powerful being in this part of the galaxy, and she was looking at him like he was an insect, Nilagard commanded. He pushed Do-Yan down hard. Do-Yan's knees hit the crystal floor with a painful crack. The Queen did not move. She did not speak. She just watched. The silence stretched on and on. It was almost worse than any words. Finally, she spoke. Her voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "So this is the creature that has caused such trouble." Do-Yan said nothing. He did not know if he was allowed to speak. "A human," the Queen continued. "A member of a species we classified as primitive 300 years ago. A species that barely learned to walk among the stars. Yet somehow, this human found its way onto a royal vessel, into my daughter's private chambers. For 3 months, murmurs rippled through the council. The Queen raised her hand. Silence fell immediately. Lord Taigen. Report. The commander stepped forward. He bowed deeply before speaking. "Your Majesty." The human was found in Princess Yora's personal quarters. Medical scans show it was injured and healed over several months. Food rations for the princess's chambers were unusually high during the voyage. It is clear the human was hidden deliberately, and my daughter. She claims full responsibility, Your Majesty. She says she found the human dying in space and chose to save it against imperial law. Yes, Your Majesty. The Queen's eyes moved to where Yura stood with her own guards. Her face was unreadable, but Do-Yan could see the tension in her shoulders. Bring my daughter forward. Yura walked to stand beside Do-Yan. She held her head high. She looked like a queen herself in that moment. Daughter, Queen Sun, he said, you have broken our most sacred laws. You have brought a primitive species onto a royal vessel. You have hidden this creature for months. You have lied to your own people. What do you have to say? Yura's voice was steady. I saved a life, Mother. I saw a being dying alone in the darkness. I could not turn away. We have rules for a reason. Primitive species are dangerous. They are unpredictable. They carry diseases we cannot cure. They have beliefs we cannot understand. The non-interference law protects us. The law is old, Yura said. Perhaps it is wrong. Gasps filled the chamber. No one challenged the Queen. No one questioned the ancient laws. Yura had just done both. Queen Sunhee's eyes narrowed. She stood from her throne and descended the crystal steps. Each footstep rang like a bell. She walked past Yura and stopped directly before Do-Yan. Up close, she was even more terrifying. Power radiated from her like heat from a star. Do-Yan could barely breathe. Human, she said coldly. Look at me. Do-Yan raised his head. He met her golden eyes. Something flickered in them. Surprise? Interest? He could not tell. Tell me, the Queen continued. What gave you the courage to defile a royal ship with your presence? What tricks did you use to manipulate my daughter? What was your plan? Do-Yan's mouth was dry, but he forced himself to speak. No tricks, Your Majesty. No plan. I was dying. Princess Yura saved me. I owe her my life. I would never do anything to hurt her. Pretty words, but humans are known throughout the galaxy. Survivors, adapters, cunning creatures. Your species has a reputation. I cannot speak for all humans, Do-Yan said. I can only speak for myself. I am a pilot. I explore space. I was not looking for your empire or your princess. I was just trying to do my job. Fate brought us together. Nothing more. Fate, the Queen repeated. She made it sound like a joke. Do you believe in fate, human? I believe in kindness, Do-Yan said. Your daughter showed me kindness when she had no reason to. She risked everything to save a stranger. That is not manipulation. That is compassion. Queen Sunhee circled him slowly. She was measuring him, testing him, looking for weakness. The punishment for breaking non-interference law is death, she said, for both the violator and the primitive involved. You understand this? I understand. And yet you show no fear. Why? Do-Yan took a deep breath. Because I have already died once. 3 months ago, alone in space, I accepted death. Then your daughter gave me a second life. Whatever happens now, I am grateful for the time I had. Fear cannot touch a man who has already made peace with the end. Something changed in the Queen's eyes. The coldness faded slightly. She looked at him differently now. Not with disgust. With something closer to respect, she turned to the council. This human speaks well. It does not beg. It does not grovel. Perhaps humans are more interesting than we believed. Lord Tegan stepped forward again. Your Majesty, with respect, we cannot allow this insult to go unpunished. If we show weakness, other species will test our laws. The Empire depends on order. Other council members voiced agreement. Calls for execution filled the chamber. The noise grew louder and louder. Queen Sunhee raised her hand. Silence again. The human will be punished according to our law, she declared. Unless someone can provide a reason for mercy, unless someone can explain why this creature deserves to live. She looked at Do-Yan. He had nothing. No argument. No defense. His life hung on a thread, and the thread was about to snap. Then Yura's voice rang out across the throne room, clear and strong and unafraid. He deserves to live because he is my partner. Words hit like a thunderbolt. The entire chamber froze. Even the queen seemed unable to move. Partner. In Valari culture, that word meant everything. It meant soul bond. It meant forever. It meant the choosing of two beings to become one. Doyan stared at Yura. She looked back at him with determination burning in her purple eyes. She had just changed everything. The alien queen questioned him. The princess boldly said, "He is my human partner." Part 4. The princess's declaration. Silence. Complete and total silence. The throne room of the Valari Empire had never been so quiet. 1,000 beings held their breath. 1,000 hearts stopped beating. 1,000 minds tried to understand what they had just heard. Princess. Yura had claimed a human as her partner. Queen Sunhee stood frozen before the throne. For the first time in 800 years, she looked truly shocked. Her golden eyes were wide. Her mouth was slightly open. She could not find words. Park Doyan was just as stunned. He knelt on the crystal floor with his wrists bound, looking up at Yura like she had gone mad. Maybe she had. Maybe they both had. What did you say? The queen's voice was quiet now, dangerous, like the calm before a terrible storm. Yura did not back down. She stepped forward, putting herself between her mother and Doyan. Her shoulders were straight. Her eyes were steady. She looked like a warrior preparing for battle. I said that Park Doyan is my partner, my chosen one. Under the ancient laws of our people, he is under my protection. Any harm done to him is harm done to me. The queen's face changed. Shock became anger. Anger became something cold and hard. You cannot be serious. I have never been more serious in my 200 years of life. Lord Tygan pushed through the crowd. His face was red with fury. This is madness, he shouted. A human cannot be the partner of Valari royalty. They are primitives. Their bodies are weak. Their minds are simple. Their lives last less than a century. This goes against everything we believe. Other council members joined his protest. The chamber exploded with voices. Some screamed for Yura to take back her words. Some demanded Doyan's immediate execution. Some called for Yuta herself to be punished. But Yuta stood firm. She waited until the noise died down. Then she spoke again. You call humans weak. You call them primitive. You say their short lives make them lesser beings. She paused and looked around the chamber. But you are wrong. She began to walk among the council members. Her voice carried to every corner of the great hall. I spent 3 months with this human. I learned about his species. I studied their history, and what I found amazed me. She stopped before an ancient council member. His silver skin was almost white with age. Elder Hayan, you have lived for 3,000 years. In that time, what have you created? What have you discovered? What have you changed? The elder opened his mouth but could not answer. Nothing, Yura said softly. You have protected what exists. You have maintained the old ways. You have sat in this chamber and watched the centuries pass. But you have created nothing new. She moved on to another council member. Lady Mingi, you lead our science division. Tell me, when was the last great Valari invention? Lady Minji's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Our technology is already perfect. There is nothing left to invent. Perfect, Yura repeated. And yet our people are dying. Our birth rates fall every century. Our greatest scientists predict extinction within 10,000 years. Is that perfection? She walked back to stand beside Doyon. She placed her hand on his shoulder. Humans have only had space travel for 300 years. In that time, they have colonized more worlds than we have in 3,000. They have invented technologies we never imagined. They have grown from a single planet to an interstellar civilization faster than any species in recorded history. Her voice grew stronger. Passion filled her words. Do you know why? Because they do not have time to wait. Their lives are short. Every moment matters. Every day counts. They cannot sit in chambers for centuries debating perfect solutions. They must act. They must try. They must fail and try again. She looked at her mother directly. We removed weakness from our genes. We removed disease and aging and death. We thought we were making ourselves perfect, but we removed something else too. We removed urgency. We removed the fire that drives living things forward. We removed the need to change. She gestured at Doyen. This man crossed the void of space in a ship held together by hope and determination. When his vessel was destroyed, he did not give up. He prepared his final message for his family. He faced death with dignity. When I saved him, he did not beg or cry. He thanked me and asked how he could help. Tears appeared in Yora's eyes. She did not wipe them away. In 3 months, Park Do-yeon taught me more about living than I learned in 200 years. He showed me that weakness is not something to fear. It is something that makes us strong. He showed me that death is not an enemy. It is what gives life meaning. She turned to face the entire council. Our people are stagnant. We have forgotten how to live. We exist, but we do not truly live. Humans are the opposite. They burn bright and fast. They love deeply because they know it will end. They create desperately because they know they will not be here forever. That is not primitive. That is beautiful. Queen Sunhae finally found her voice. You would bond yourself to a creature who will die in 50 years? You would watch him age and wither while you remain the same? Yes, Yura said without hesitation. I would rather have 50 years of true life than 1,000 more years of emptiness. I would rather love briefly than never love at all. She turned to Doyen. She reached down and took his bound hands in hers. When I look at him, I do not see an alien. I see the other half of my soul. I see someone who understands me, someone who challenges me, someone who makes me want to be better. She faced her mother one final time. I do not ask for your blessing. I do not need your permission. Under the ancient laws, older even than your reign, I have the right to choose my partner. I choose Park Do-yeon. If you execute him, you execute the last hope our species has for a future. The chamber was silent again, but it was a different silence now. Not shocked, thoughtful, Do-yeon looked up at Yura. His heart was full of so many emotions. He could not name them all. Love, gratitude, fear, hope. She had risked everything for him. Her position, her family, her very life. Ura, he whispered. She looked down at him with tears still in her eyes. But she was smiling. You saved my life, he said. Now you are throwing away your own. Why? She squeezed his hands. Because some things are worth more than safety. Some things are worth any price. She paused. You taught me that. Queen Sunhae watched them. Her golden eyes moved from her daughter to the human and back again. Something was shifting behind those ancient eyes. Something was changing. The entire empire waited for her to speak. The future of 2 species hung on her next words. The queen took a deep breath. When she spoke, her voice was different, softer, almost sad. You truly love this creature. With all that I am, Yura answered. The queen was silent for a long moment. Then she did something no one expected. She laughed. It was a small laugh, quiet and tired. But it was real. 200 years, she said. And this is how my daughter chooses to rebel. Not with politics or war. With love, she turned to look at Dojan again. This time, there was no coldness in her eyes. Human, she said. It seems my daughter believes you are special. Let us see if she is right. The alien queen questioned him. The princess boldly said, He is my human partner, Part 5. A new Dawn Queen Sunhae descended the crystal steps until she stood directly before Park Do-yeon. The entire throne room watched in silence. No one dared to breathe. No one dared to move. The queen looked down at the kneeling human. He met her gaze without flinching. Even bound and helpless, even facing the most powerful being in the galaxy, he did not look away. Rise, human, she commanded. Do-yeon pushed himself to his feet. His legs ached from kneeling. His wrists hurt from the energy shackles. But he stood straight and tall. Queen Sunhae circled him slowly. She was studying him like a scientist studies a new specimen. But there was more in her eyes now, not just curiosity. Something like respect. My daughter speaks of hope, she said quietly. She speaks of change, of fire, of the need to adapt and grow. She stopped before him. Tell me, human, if I spare your life and accept this bond, what future do you see? Doyan took a deep breath. His answer could mean everything. It could mean life or death, not just for him, but for the relationship between two species. Your Majesty, I am just a pilot. I am not a diplomat or a scientist or a politician. I was flying through space doing my job when everything changed. I did not plan any of this. I did not choose to fall in love with your daughter. It just happened. He paused, gathering his thoughts. But I have learned things in these 3 months. I have learned that the Velar are not so different from humans. You love your families. You worry about the future. You dream of better things. You just forgot how to reach for them. He looked at Yura, standing beside him. Her purple eyes gave him courage. Humans are young and foolish. We make mistakes constantly. We fight wars we should not fight. We destroy things we should protect. We hurt each other in terrible ways. He turned back to the queen. But we also learn. We grow. We pick ourselves up after every fall and try again. That is our gift. The ability to change. And what would this change look like? The queen asked. Humans and Velari together? I do not know exactly. No one can predict the future. But I know this. Your people have wisdom. Thousands of years of knowledge. Thousands of years of peace. Humans have energy. We have drive. We have the fire your daughter spoke about. He spread his bound hands as much as he could. Apart, your species faces slow extinction. Apart, humans face our own limitations. But together, maybe we could build something new. Something neither species could achieve alone. Queen Sunhee was silent for a long moment. The throne room remained frozen. History balanced on the edge of a knife. Finally, the queen spoke. But not to Doyan. To the entire council? For 800 years I have ruled this empire. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I have watched stars be born and die. I believed I understood the universe. She paused. But today, my own daughter has shown me that I still have much to learn. She turned to face the council members directly. We built our laws to protect ourselves, to keep our species pure, to maintain order. For 10,000 years, these laws served us well. But times change. Circumstances change. If we do not change with them, we die. Lord Tygan stepped forward. Your Majesty, surely you are not considering. I am considering many things, the queen cut him off. I am considering that our birth rates have fallen for 3 centuries. I am considering that our greatest minds have found no solution. I am considering that a human pilot has shown more courage in this throne room than most Velari I have known. She turned back to Doyan. Slowly, deliberately, she raised her hand. The energy shackles around his wrists dissolved into nothing. He was free. The Velari do not forgive easily, she said. We do not trust easily. We do not change easily. But we are not fools. When the path ahead is clear, even the oldest among us can learn to walk a new way. She reached out and took Doyun's hand. Her skin was cool against his. The touch of a queen. You have something we have lost, human. Fire, spirit, the refusal to accept defeat. She glanced at her daughter. My daughter sees it. Perhaps I see it too. She released his hand and addressed the council once more. There will be no execution today. Under the ancient laws of choosing, Princess Yura has claimed this human as her partner. That claim is valid. That bond is protected. Protests erupted from some council members. Lord Tegan looked ready to explode, but a single look from the queen silenced them all. More than that, she continued, I am ordering a new initiative. We will open communication with the human species. We will begin diplomatic relations. We will explore whether our peoples can find common ground. She looked at Doyon again. A tiny smile appeared on her ancient face. If one human can win the heart of a Valari princess, perhaps there is hope for us all. 1 year later, Park Do-yeon stood on a space station at the border between Valari and human territory. He wore formal clothes, not the uniform of a pilot. Beside him stood Princess Yura, more beautiful than ever. Around them, diplomats from both species gathered. Cameras from 100 worlds broadcast the event across the galaxy. This was the day of the first accord. The day human and Valar hands would join for the first time in history. Do-yeon's heart was pounding. Not from fear this time. From joy? Nervous? Yura whispered. Terrified, he admitted. You. The same. Her hand found his under the ceremonial table. But we face it together. Together, Do-yeon agreed. The ceremony began. Speeches were made. Documents were signed. Hands were shaken. And in front of the entire galaxy, two species took the first step toward a shared future. Afterward, the cameras were gone and the diplomats had left. Do-yeon and Yura stood alone at a window. They looked out at the stars together. Do-yeon said, 1 year ago, I was dying alone in a broken ship. I had given up hope. I was ready for the end. And now you are a hero, Yura said. The human who brought two civilizations together. I am just a pilot who got lucky, Do-yeon corrected her with a smile. I happened to be saved by a princess who was brave enough to break the rules. Yura leaned against him. Perhaps we both got lucky. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Do-yeon spoke again. What happens now? I mean, really? What does our future look like? Yura thought about it. Honestly, I do not know. There will be challenges. There will be people on both sides who resist change. There will be difficulties we cannot predict. Sounds hard. It will be... She looked up at him with her purple eyes full of warmth. But nothing worth having comes easy. You taught me that. Do-yeon laughed. I do not remember teaching you anything. You did. Every day. By being yourself. By refusing to give up. By loving me, even when it made no sense. She squeezed his hand. Humans are remarkable, Park Do-yeon. You live such short lives, but you fill them with so much meaning. You love so fiercely because you know it will end. You fight so hard because you have no time to waste. She turned to face him directly. The Valari lived for thousands of years without truly living. Then one human crashed into our world and changed everything. That is your species' gift. You make change happen. You make others want to change. Do-yeon pulled her close. He kissed her forehead gently. We have maybe 50 years, he said. 60 if I am lucky. Then we will make every moment count, Yura replied. We will love fiercely. We will live fully. We will change the galaxy together. And after I am gone, then I will remember you forever. I will carry your fire inside me for the rest of my existence. And I will make sure no one forgets what we built. Do-yeon smiled. There were tears in his eyes, but they were happy tears. It sounds like a good plan. They turned back to the window. The stars stretched out before them, infinite and full of possibility. Somewhere out there, humans and Valari were already working together for the first time. Already learning from each other. Already changing. It was just the beginning. The story of two species learning to be one. The story of fire and wisdom. Of passion and patience. Of brief lives and eternal love. It was a story that would be told for 10,000 years, and it all started with a princess who looked at a dying human and decided that some things were worth breaking the rules for. The end humanity. Fuck yeah.